What's up, Eagles Nation? What's going on, NFL world? How you doing, division rivals? This is Steven Hyder with Gate City Sports Channel, the sports channel where the cerebral NFL fan comes for about 10 minutes of daily content. All right, guys, how about that game last night, man? That Seattle and San Francisco game. Seattle going on the road, playing an undefeated San Francisco team. Game going into overtime, missed kicks. I mean, that was that was a crazy game, man. That's the kind of games you got to have in those Sunday night and Monday night football billings if you want to keep people's attention. All right, today's topic, guys. As I alluded to yesterday, I told you I wanted to dive into more situational football and talk about this matchup between the Eagles and the Patriots. Because what I think is going to be one of the true keys to this football game is going to be keeping New England on the sideline, Tom Brady and that offense on the sideline, and gaining a big lead. We've got to take it to New England. We've got to take it to them quickly. I think if you put New England in a hole, it becomes very predictable and it becomes a lot easier to actually shut down this Bill Belichick offense. If you allow this team to keep kind of hanging around with you, you start playing chess with Bill Belichick, you're setting yourself up for what could be a really difficult game to win. So today's topic, guys, is going to be this idea of what do we need to do to shut down this New England Patriots offense in order for us to basically gain a lead and then take hold of this football game. So today, shutting down the New England Patriots offense during the first quarter. All right, y'all, let's get to the topic.
Garrett right there, all these guys up at the line of scrimmage, and they bail out, and Tom's got to throw it early. He's going long.
All right, guys, today we're just going to go ahead and jump right into the action today, guys. So the clip I just showed you before I came back on and started talking to you again, that is a first quarter drive for New England. They're in a third and medium distance, third and about 6, and they revert to what I think is common for them in these particular situations, which is they like to try to spread teams out, either through the 11-man, which is what they're dominant in, the 20-man, or the 10-man. They like to either use a two-back set, depending on the down and distance. They like to go 4 wide with 1 back, depending on the matchup they have, or they'll go into what most of the league plays, which is an 11-man, which is more of a standard base for offenses today. This particular one, they go 11-man, and as weird and as awkward as this New England receiving corps is, you can see there where the potential lies. Because what you have is, once again, you got Dorsett in a weird out-of-place positioning playing the X. And then if you look down to the bottom offensive right, what you have is Mohamed Sanu playing the Y. Right? Those two are on your line of scrimmage. In the tight formation on the offensive right, you have Ben Watson. And then up on the left slot, you have Julian Edelman. Simple concept, guys. Edelman, Watson, and Sanu are just going to run kind of like drag routes. They're all going to kind of do these in-breaking kind of drag routes across the screen. And then you got basically a go route going with Dorsett basically heading on a go route, kind of heading on a fade. And look, Dorsett gets separation, and he wins the day. I'm going to run that clip for you guys to see it again.
Garrett right there, all these guys up at the line of scrimmage, and they bail out, and Tom's got to throw it early. He's going long.
So we can see that this offense, it's going to come at us in this first quarter, and we've got to be ready to punch back against this offense because while I said I don't think any of their players are really players that strike fear into your heart per se, nonetheless, this is a very well coached and schemed football team, and you've got to beat that coaching and scheming in order to win. And as I was looking through the first down analytics about the New England Patriots offense, what I noticed is in the first quarter, they're a really difficult team to scheme for because there's only really one consistency with this team, and that's 11-man personnel. But even in the 11-man personnel, which they're in about 50% of all plays during the first quarter, they're a very balanced run-pass team there. So you can't really cue in on anything because they're about 52% to 48% pass to run there. Past that, the next two formations that they utilize quite heavily are the 21-man personnel. So once again, trying to keep those two backs on the field, to which once again, they're 52 to 48 balance. You guys get what I'm saying here. They're very balanced. And then they run a lot of 12-man past that, which they're not so balanced there. They're way more run heavy in 12-man. So that's 12 to about 88%. But the way these figures break down, guys, is 50% 11-man, 23% 21-man, and then 12% in the 12-man. This is what I'll caution people. depending on the injury report that comes out later in the week, it's looking like New England would have an incredibly difficult time running 12 man because it looks like they're going to be down on tight ends. If they're down on tight ends, I really would suspect that New England's going to go heavy with formations like 21 man, and then they're probably going to bring in 20 man a little more, maybe 10 man. And this is where it gets really confusing with New England because they like to attack teams individually. They like to game plan for individual teams and then attack them. And I'll give you some examples, guys. Not early on, I'm sorry. A few weeks ago, they really got their season turned around with Washington, the way that the offense played against Washington, and they rolled into a Giants game. That is very misleading because if you only looked at the statistics for the Giants game, you would think that they did really well against this Giants football team. But in truth, they kind of struggled. And to be honest, if it wasn't for a blocked kick, they really wouldn't even have put points up in the first quarter of that game. And they really tried to attack the Giants with heavy formation sets. So they went 22 man on 8 out of 19 plays in the first, or 8 out of 17 plays in the first quarter. So generally speaking, that was 47% of their offense came out 22 man. Two back set, more of a running set. Now, we'll break down how they particularly play these sets in terms of the run and pass, but heavy formation. 21 man, they came out 24% in that game. 29% in 29% in 11 man. So they really change up the way that they attack football teams because if you compare that, I'm sorry guys, I have some notes written down to a game like what happened against Cleveland. They came out 30% in the 11 man, 35% in the 12 man, 30% in 10 man, and then 4% 22 man. So there was still a balance there between run and pass between that 12 man and the 22 man, which those are more, physical, test a team's, heart to see if they're really willing to play the football game today type of formations as compared to 11 and 10 man, which is more of spread you out. 11 man, 3 wide receivers, a tight end, and a back, while, the 10 man is basically spreading you out with 4 receivers and a running back. So, depending on the competition, depending on the way this team likes to play you in the first quarter. This is what I'll say about this particular football team. It got caught in the first quarter against Baltimore. It tried to spread them out and attack them. It only had 7 offensive plays, it appears, in the first quarter against Baltimore, which generated exactly 0 points. And they were in 11 man for all 7 plays. And Cleveland, where they were a little more balanced with their offense between the run and the pass, heavy formations with spread formations, they put up 17 points against Cleveland in the previous week. Cleveland is a much higher rated pass defense than Baltimore. Baltimore is rated like 20th against the pass if you're looking at yards per game compared to Cleveland's 7th ranking. Sometimes rankings don't mean crap, man. Sometimes the team just turns on the film and they see something in film and they attack you from that. That's where Bill Belichick shines, is putting things on film, finding out where you're weak, and then attacking your weakness. The Eagles have got to be prepared for this. Because if I was a betting man, I don't think this team is going to abandon the 11-man personnel. But there's a sneaky part of me that says that we're either going to see them come out on 11-man and then try to either attack us with 20 and 21-man, or they might try to get a little too cute with 10-man on us. It just really depends on where they perceive the weaknesses and how much they're falling in love with like N'Keal Harry. Because N'Keal Harry, depending on how they feel about him, would warrant them going into a lot of 10-man formation. So how do they feel about N'Keal Harry coming back, and whether or not that allows them to play a lot of 11 and 10-man personnel as compared to how they feel about this backfield with Sony Michel and James White and Burkhead, Bolden, and utilizing more 20, 21, and 22-man personnel sets, maybe even going into heavy formations like 12-man if they had the availability of tight ends to get them through such formations. That's really, to me, is going to be the key to stopping this offense, is we have to figure out what are they seeing on film about the Eagles and how do they want to attack our defense.
To the left, Dorsett to the right. Here goes Brady out of the gun. He had the time.
There's New England in the first quarter, against one of the higher rated pass defenses in the league in Cleveland. Mind you, what you're rated and what you actually are can be two different things. Nonetheless, one of the highest rated pass defenses in the league, spreading them out in 10-man personnel, four wide receivers, one running back. And what becomes a nightmare about the way that New England can spread you out with these mixed match of players who don't belong in any one position, but are all very well coached and schemed players, is look at that formation. In the X receiver positioning, who's up there? The rookie free agent, the kid I'm familiar with, Jacoby Myers. Look down to your left slot. Who's in your left slot? Julian Edelman. Look down to your right slot. Who's in your right slot? Mohamed Sanu. Who's down as your Z receiver? Finally putting him in the positioning in the place I think that he belongs. That's Dorsett. They're very good at this, and I believe that was James White in the backfield. So you have a receiving threat in the backfield. This is where the Eagles have to be very careful, is watching this team try to spread you out. Because if you really look at the statistical breakdown or the analytics of the first quarter in New England, the way that it approaches the game, it is a almost 50-50 run pass on first down type offense. 49% of the time it'll pass, 51% of the time it'll run. Second down, it becomes way more heavier on that pass. Now you're getting into the field of about 64% of plays going through the pass, as opposed to 36% of the plays going through the run. By the time you hit third down, just like most teams in the league, you're predominantly in a pass offense. So you're getting to 77% pass, 23% run. I'm curious of how New England is going to try to attack this Philadelphia Eagles defense, because I think there's a lot of misconceptions out there about the secondary, because a lot of people don't realize how healthy the secondary is right now. That a lot of our struggles, while some of it was certainly due to talent, a lot more of it was contributed to the actual injury bug and lack of communication and reps playing together. Once those things start to iron out, you start to see a pass defense which has gradually now moved itself back towards the median, the norm. I think we're ranked now around 17th or so in the league in pass defense, so you can already see how fast we pushed ourselves right back towards the median. Mind you, playing fairly bad passing offenses in Chicago and Buffalo also played a role in that. My point being is, if you're New England, do you even try to run at the Eagles? Is this a matter of we're not going to be able to run on this football team, so we're not even going to try it? Or is it a matter of, look, their weakness is at the linebacker positioning, so we want to try to attack the safeties and linebackers on this football team? That's where I get interested with trying to track what in the world is going to go on with this football game, because I think if you're New England and you think our weaknesses are essentially in the linebacking positionings, then I'm expecting you to go heavy in your base 11 man with a lot of 21 man, a lot of 20 man, and a lot of 10 man. I would think that those formations, those four formations, are going to be heavily utilized if you think we can be taken at the linebacker and safety position. That's what I have my eye on. Now, I'll be honest with you, I'm not going to say this isn't going to happen, but if New England is healthy enough to run two tight end formations, I would be interested to see if they actually do try to come out and attack us in 12 man and 22 man. The only team who's even had remote success at trying to attack us with the running game, and it wasn't necessarily through 12 man utilization so much or 22 man, it was more so just pulling guards and things like that, was Dallas. Zeke Elliott and Dallas kind of got us. 1 week, it's an anomaly. Every other team has tried it, and every other team has been completely shut down by us. I'm interested to see how they're going to try to approach this game. All right, guys, these are the thoughts that I have about this game. I'm getting the feeling that we're going to see them try to spread us out and maybe try to run at us on first down. And then I really suspect that on second and third down and on some first down plays, we're going to see a lot of 10 man, 20 man, 11 man, 21 man. I think New England's strength is two running back sets. So we'll see, does it fall in love with N'Keal Harry and try to go 10 man, or utilize him a lot more on 11 man and just kind of really use him in conjunction with Dorsett, moving in and out, say, New and Edelman? Or is it go more into like, hey, look, let's try to take these running backs and really attack the safeties and really attack the the linebackers on this football team. Try to make them cue in on us. Make them try to guess if we're going to run, if we're going to pass. I mean, that's how I see it. You guys tell me what you think about it. All right, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And oh yeah, it's EAGLES. All right, big game, big game coming up, guys. I think this is a game that can be had. This is a game that we can win. We have the benefit and we have the advantage with this being played at home. We'll see how it all works out, guys. All right, I'm going to keep these videos rolling. Looking at tomorrow, guys, what I'm thinking right now, and I might change my mind later on tonight, but I'm thinking about moving more into down and distance type stuff. Talking about matchups when we start getting into third and long opposed to third and short, and kind of predicting how do we get this defense off the field. All right, peace. I'm out here.